Hello, my name is Henry Vasel, president of the Rocky Hill Education Foundation. Founded in 1995, the foundation's mission is to enhance education opportunities in Rocky Hill. As has been tradition, we have the mayoral forums where we get to meet with both mayoral candidates in Rocky Hill and ask a series of questions pertaining to education. Here today we have incumbent Republican Mayor Lisa Marotta.
Hi.
Hello. Very first question, Lisa, tell us something about yourself.
All right, well, I've had the honor and privilege to serve for 2 terms as the mayor of Rocky Hill. I'm one of only 3 women since the town's incorporation back in the 1800s, so that's a very exciting and interesting tidbit. I'm a mom of 3. I recently retired from my profession as an attorney, and I now work for a public university where I develop programming for women in leadership, and I cultivate external relationships so that our future women business leaders can be successful.
Great. What is your vision for education in Rocky Hill?
So I think it's probably what everyone wants. We want to see healthy, happy, eager students in the classrooms, kids who want to get up in the morning and go to school, right? We want to make sure that we are responding to family needs, that our infrastructure is strong, that we have the right tools and resources, that we have secure and safe buildings, and that we are creating environments that are warm and welcoming, collaborative, and teaching our students the importance of being inclusive. And so I'm really proud of what my Republican administration has been able to accomplish in just 4 short years. I mean, when we look at the number of capital improvements that we've been able to do without borrowing money, we've put in new roofs on our schools, new HVAC systems, we just put new science labs at GMS, all of which we did without borrowing money, which is tremendous, and it is a huge tax savings for the taxpayers here in Rocky Hill. Also, we have adopted Diwali as a school holiday. We have expanded the Dream Academy, so our Board of Education is actually introducing a cultural work skill set for those students who are between ages 18 and 22 with some developmental disabilities, and they're actually going to have an operation called Dream Cafe. Well, they'll go and they'll learn to work with the public, and they'll get some important life skills along with that. And of course, we've maintained our schools of excellence. And what's really remarkable is that throughout the pandemic, we were one of very, very few districts that actually stayed open throughout COVID, and we also offered families the opportunity to have their children educated remotely. So for folks who just didn't feel safe and comfortable, and students who were apprehensive about coming out of the house during a pandemic, and rightly so, we offered them that alternative way to learn. And notwithstanding all of those challenges, the state just released its recovery report. And we are at the top of our district reference group in terms of test scores. So you'll see even around the country, as well as around Connecticut, test scores have really been quite low as a result of the pandemic, and Rocky Hill was not impacted by that. And that's really a testament to our strong Board of Education.
Great, thank you. With the shortage of teachers being a reality, how do you keep teachers and attract new ones?
You know, we're very fortunate, again, because our schools are so strong that we don't necessarily have a retention issue. But of course, recruitment is always top of mind, especially coming off the pandemic, because let's face it, our teachers are the backbone to our successful schools. The schools are then the backbone to our successful community, because families, you know, people just starting out, they come to Rocky Hill specifically for the school system, right? They get a great school system, and then they want to stay, and then they contribute to our tax base and a myriad of ways. They support small businesses. They open small businesses. So we're really all very codependent upon our schools being successful. And the key there is to make sure that our teachers are happy. So, we really want to focus on making sure that they have the resources that they need in the classrooms, that if they want or need certain types of training, that we're providing those trainings for them, that they have a good work week, a good work schedule, that their classes are the right size and not over demanding for them. We want to make sure that they have a great ability if they want to upskill, as we call it, so that they're adding to their own resumes and their own productivity and their skill set, so that they can be the best that they can be while they're here in our community, because really, as I said, they are the backbone to a strong community.
Thank you. What can we do to help keep our schools secure?
Yeah, school security is certainly on the top of everyone's mind. And unfortunately, you see around the United States, we've seen it here in Connecticut, there have been some pretty horrific crimes that occur in schools. And it's not just shootings, it's drugs, it's fighting, it's a number of things that can deteriorate school safety. But that has been a top priority for my administration. Public safety, I believe, is truly government's #1 responsibility, whether we're talking federal, state, or local level. And we have been responsive to the needs of the parents. This year, in fact, the Board of Education asked for an additional SRO in the schools, and my administration was able to fund that. And I will tell you that the party running against us, folks on that slate voted against that. But what we said is, look, school safety is so important, because as I mentioned, if our students don't feel safe coming to school, they're not going to thrive. If our families don't feel safe sending their students to school, then they're not going to send them, and they're going to move out, and then there goes, Rocky Hill. So we all have to do our part to make sure that the schools are safe for a variety of reasons, and we're certainly committed to doing what we can, including putting additional SROs into those schools.
Okay, thank you. How can a college education be made more affordable?
Well, I don't know about being more affordable, but perhaps more attainable, right? And I think we tend to flip-flop as a society between what we're telling our children. There was a push when I was a kid that trade school was real important. Then we flipped to, when I had children, make sure you tell your kids they have to go to college, right? Started at birth, whispering in their ear. Now we're seeing again how important the trades are. But I think we can't diminish the importance of a college education. And the public schools, the public universities and colleges probably are the most affordable at this point for our students to attend. And there is a variety of opportunity there. I think the most important thing that we have to recognize is that a college degree can really change the trajectory of someone's life, especially someone who's coming from a low-income family, right? It's going to change that student's life. It's actually going to change the trajectory of that family's life, and then for generations to come. So anything that we can do to minimize the costs of education is important, but I think first getting students to recognize that it is important still. Trades are important, absolutely. The service industry is always going to be there. It's not going to go away. And college isn't for everyone, but for kids who are able to go to college, we need to start introducing them to STEM early on. And that's why we have the new science labs at GMS, right? And especially for our females, we want to get them engaged in the sciences, because that's really where it's at. You see the Internet of Things, AI, all of these, things that were considered in the Jetsons cartoons when we were kids, right? They're a reality, and we want our kids to be prepared for that.
Great, thank you. In terms of our environment and the importance of recycling and conservation, how can we educate everyone on its positive effects?
Yeah, this is something I'm super excited about. So back in 2019, the state started this conversation through a committee called CCSMM, where we're focused on sustainable materials management. And right now, the cost of disposing of our trash is crazy expensive. And there was a time we belonged to a business called Mira Trash to Energy plant that would take all of our trash, they would burn it, turn it into energy, a great concept, except that the environmental impact of that is not good, the location of that was not good, and the state really wanted to go with a different model. The problem is what we do now with our trash is we actually send it to landfills. So we're moving backwards. And the state really needs to build an infrastructure so that we can do the right thing, because I think we all want to do the right thing. We want to minimize what we're putting in our trash cans. We want to increase what we're putting into recycling. And now the new component is, let's take a look at the food scraps, the organic side of this, right? Because when we take our trash to the center that accepts it, there is something called a tipping fee, right? So they literally weigh our trash, and then we pay based on how much it weighs. Well, remarkably, if you take all of that wet, yuck food out of there, your organics, you're really reducing ultimately that tipping fee. So it's very cost effective for us to consider ways to do that, as well as we're helping the environment at the same time. So we have an opportunity to take some grant money, and we have sort of revised what our pilot program will look like, but we're going to be introducing a pilot program to a limited number of households in Rocky Hill, and we're going to experiment with removing food scraps from the trash, and we're also going to be offering more education on recycling. And I'm really excited because our program will offer an opportunity for folks to take their organics down to the transfer station. It's another way to dispose of it. But at the end of the day, it's really about education, because these are all behaviors. They're all habits that we have. And we just mindlessly throw things into the bin and put it up to the curb and think, okay, it's somebody else's problem. But in 2023, it's everybody's problem. You know, foreign countries have stopped taking our recycling. The market isn't quite there. We're back to burying our garbage. So we have to sort of rethink and reimagine things.
Okay, thank you. If a student prefers a trade school or some other type of higher education, what is available for them?
You know, it's a really exciting time to be a student, whether you decide to go on to trade school or college, because right now there are about 77,000 open jobs in Connecticut, and employers are so eager to hire. We have businesses here in Connecticut who actually take folks right out of high school, and they can put them into special classes and train them, whether they want to become an electrician or something in another field. But the state of Connecticut has launched a number of tremendous programs that you can find on their portal. And so students, you can literally go on and you can type in, you answer a list of questions, and it asks you, what do you like to do, and what are your preferences, and it's very personalized, and it will pull up jobs that exist that you could go right into. You can apply for them, they explain them to you, and the computer system will actually, once it has your information, it will bing you every time there's a job opening that matches the things that you like to do. They also have something for college students to get internships. They have something called Campus CT, where they're hooking folks right up now with employers. And employers are hiring kids younger and younger just so that they can train them and fill those needs. So it's actually a very exciting time because there's endless possibility out there.
Thank you. And now, if you have any closing remarks?
Well, you know, I want to say that I am so tremendously honored to serve as the mayor of Rocky Hill. I honestly wake up every day and I ask, you know, what can I do today to empower the folks in my community to be successful? And, you know, over the past 4 years, we have definitely built a solid foundation for sustainability. We became a Connecticut a sustainable CT municipality. We've won an award for our programming and all of the things that we do to create a vibrant, inclusive, and resilient community. We have created a culture of inclusion. We've had our first Pride Day, and it's become an annual event. We have all kinds of incredible programs happening at the Senior Center. You know, we just have a lot of good things happening that are bringing the community together in a way that has never happened before. And all of the while, we have been doing what we promised to do, and that was to minimize tax increases. So, you know, I would encourage everyone, please, to pay attention this election, and I would be honored to serve as your mayor for a third term. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for watching and listening to the answers from our mayor, Lisa Marotta, in
Thank
the
you.
upcoming election. And please remember to vote November 7th. Thank you.